we've proven time and again that, you know, employees that are happy and healthy and rested are way more productive, right? Like we'll have those moments, right, where we've got to bear down, we've got to really, you know, get through something. Hopefully it's a short amount of time, but then after that we gotta recover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's not a maintained thing when you push yourself, you know, like into turbo mode. It's not something you can keep going at and stuff. And you have to, I mean, trust yourself, trust your team that you work with.
Yeah,
to kind of understand that and do that, right? Like, I'm really lucky to have an awesome team. So when I took the time off, I handed the reins over to some of the team, and like they took it and ran with it. You know, it was great.
Yeah, you got to trust the people to do that too, right?
Yeah.
Like that gets away from the whole. Well, one, you got to always be able to pass a bus test, right? So if you for some reason are not there, things have to go on, right? So you always need to be prepared to do that, and those are good kind of tests, you know, at times to be like, who would take this over? Who's going to make sure this thing moves through? You know?
Yeah,
and it's good.
Yeah, those are things. You know, like you tend to realize what happened only when it's happened.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also another good thing, or something that we tend to kind of have to figure out in game development, is we never know when those curves are coming, right? So we get really good at, you know, well, here's today's new problem. How are we going to solve that one? So
yeah. That's the secret, the actual or the real secret. They have a time, like the real secret of game dev, I think, is we really don't know until it actually is there and we test it out and we say, oh yeah, this is cool. It's not like you just put something down on paper and say, this is gonna be great.
Yeah, man,
doesn't work. Doesn't work. Wish it did, but it doesn't work like that.
That's why getting something playable as soon as possible is so important, right? Like, so you can make sure that it's actually going to be something worth doing, and then you can keep iterating on top of it.
Yeah, get some stuff out there. Yeah, man, it's fun though. Like, never a dull moment for sure.
Yeah,
you know, if you want a dull moment, you could go work in some other job that does that. I like it here because it's kind of nuts, and yeah, it's good being nuts around people that are nuts doing crazy things. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I always say, like, for me, it boils down to problem solving. I love solving problems. We have new problems every day. And even the same problem that we have, we probably solved a different way in the past on a different game because of the people were different. The tools were different. The game was different. Like, it's always like there's a lot of, you can lean on your experience, but you still have to leverage for the solution that works now.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right. I'd like to start at the beginning. All right. So tell us where you grew up and what did you think you were going to be when you got older?
Yeah. So I am from the Caribbean.
Okay.
I am actually from Trinidad and Tobago. It's for people that kind of just want a reference point. Florida is here. Then there's Cuba, then all the islands of the Caribbean, and Trinidad's the last one. Right? We're off the coast of Venezuela. I don't speak Spanish. Right? Just speak English. So I grew up in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, and I mean, like, just like a lot of people, games were a thing. For most of us, games was always a thing. We loved it and stuff, and I wanted to get into games somewhere in the mid-90s, end 90s, like kind of like, well, I'm old, right? We're old people. So end of 90s when we were going into university and stuff. And I was curious about the industry, and I started digging into it around the time. You all remember when they had like GameSpot TV and extended play before it was X Play?
Oh yeah.
and was it ZDTV and all that kind of stuff, and you're looking at it, it's like, damn, that looks so cool. They get to review games and tighten up the graphics on level 3. So
That's
fun,
right.
and so we had no reference point to actually talk about, because the game industry, first of all, it was super small then. Second of all, they were very siloed from entertainment, from everything else. It was not mainstream.
Right.
So if you wanted to get into games, you kind of just stumble into it, right? It kind of just happens. And being from the Caribbean, there is nobody that could have given me any kind of direction where to go. All they would see is like, you need to be like John Carmack. Why? Because John Carmack can do Quake. John Carmack. That's all they would. They don't know, right? And it was programming is just I couldn't wrap my head. I was bad at maths. I couldn't wrap my head around code. It was a difficult thing to do. I eventually did, and we'll get to that one. Jameson knows that one too. But I kind of just decided to take the route of like design or something in that direction. And when I told my folks I wanted to get into games, the first thought was like, what? You want to do what? Because guy from the Caribbean is an energy sector. Most people either do law, they do medicine, or they go into engineering because an energy sector and we have a lot of oil down there. So to say you want to make games is like, yeah, no, that's not working. That's not a thing. I still wanted to do it. So I was able to convince my folks. I did my own research, dug around a few places, ended up going to the now defunct and total ripoff ITT Tech, right? That
oh, did you? All right.
Yeah, dude, I went, but I got my worth out of there. But like that school was basically a school like people out of military would go to that school, like a community college, and they started to want to branch out into games. But their game dev track was nothing like games. It was like a course in animation and a course in Photoshop and something to do with video editing. And this isn't games, right? This is just pieces of games,
Yeah.
But it's all they were at the time. That's all people could tell you, right? That's all they knew. So I was doing that. I ended up doing the first half of the degree in Florida, and then I moved to San Diego, where I kind of started branching. Then I started to meet folks because, on the West Coast, it has a lot of studios. San Diego was near Sony. San Diego, it was near, was at High Moon Studios, and those folks were there. Also, that's where I met our buddy Roger, right? Cotton,
Yeah.
Roger was teaching there, right? And I met Roger there, and Roger started introducing me to his buddies that work in games, that a lot of them went off to do indie stuff and so on. And it started to fascinate me about those kind of things. I finished that degree there, but immediately realized, look, I don't know enough. It's not enough. And I need to get my head around game dev in a bigger way, like actual dev process. So that's when I started digging into Full Sail stuff.
Okay.
And I saw Full Sail had a master's in game design, and it was interested in it. I saw some stuff about it. It was mostly production based at the time, instead of design based. But I was interested in it, so I jumped into that. And I went there and I finished that degree. That Full Sail was actually where I made a huge amount of network folks. Not just like Full Sail bringing people in to talk to you, but also realize that, look, you need to get out to GDC. You need to get out to some of these places. And it's something that I tell a lot of the students who still ping me on LinkedIn, like from Full Sail, ask me to join and stuff, and they say, look, I'm trying to get into games. What should I do? And I always tell them, get yourself out onto the West Coast. Like, I can't get out to the West Coast. So it's like, okay, you have a lot of opportunities as well. Like, get on get on Twitch with Jameson and talk to
That's
him,
right.
and get on. There's a ton of folks that are doing things like there's a whole indie dev channel on Twitch. Like I found my way into dev through what was it, indie.db, right? Which was like this super indie site that has like a GeoCities looking design to it.
Oh wow.
It's just a bunch of guys that just put up advertisements from mods that they want to make games in.
Okay.
And when I had graduated, I graduated around the same time as Ari. I think we both know Ari, Patrick.
Oh yeah.
And so Ari's now at Epic, right, as Unreal. But Ari and I were in the same boat. We were working on this indie project in Unreal 3, which was a total conversion game from Unreal Tournament 3. And the game was it was basically Mad Max Unreal Tournament. They reskinned the game and decided to mod it, make their own heroes and everything. And it's called Warm Gun. And Ari basically just got the gig for Doom at id, and he said, look, I can't work on this game anymore, you wanna take over as producer? So I said sure. And I got that gig. But while that was happening, another friend of mine, his name is Evan, Evan and I went to ITT together. He's probably the only person I know from ITT that actually succeeded, as Evan is lead combat designer at NetherRealm on the MK. Anytime you see Melina or Liu Kang, it's him. Right? That's him. He owns those characters, right? So he was him and I were looking to make a mobile game where mobile was just the first thing ever. Like nobody knew about mobile games. This was like Mafia Wars was the thing that everybody was playing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What year are we talking roughly? Do you know?
2009, 2010, right? And we decided to make a game that was one of the first games to use the haptic, or not really haptic, the touch. Haptic was the name of the thing. The touch system on the iPhone, which was, the A, B button and the left and right button. And we made a game called Ronin the Samurai, which is no longer on the stores. I think somebody took the name or something as well, because if you don't update the game, it just gets removed. So we put that out. We didn't even know how much to sell it for, like $2.99, $3.99. Like there was no expectation then. Nobody knew. So we put that out. Nobody bought it. I think like 18 people bought it, including us. Right? That was it. And then we put out a game for free called Tilt-A-Frog, which basically used the gyro system on the phone. Right? And this was like this was just like new things. This is the game that was popular right at that time was Catch Your Phone, which was an app that lets you throw your phone into the air and it determines how long it takes for it to fall before you catch it. Yeah, that was it. It was Catch Your Phone. Most people used to break their phone.
Yeah.
And
seems smart.
Yeah, so after we played with all of that, we kind of I went to GDC. This is like my second or third time at GDC. The first time I went to GDC was 2010. And I went there and it was extremely daunting. I felt like this tiny, tiny fish in this giant pond. Now, GDCs have changed a lot. Like Riot wasn't acquired by Tencent at the time. Riot was kind of like their own thing at the time. Blizzard had a booth back then. Microsoft had a booth, and Sony had their booth, and everybody had their booth. And so it was different then. But you would go inside there and you'd hear a lot of stuff, people saying, oh, I'm going to walk with your resume and your portfolio and, have your stuff. And you walk in there and there's like 20,000 people the exact same way.
Yep.
Right? 20,000 other kids out of different universities from all over the place, all in a jacket or in a shirt, and they're looking to get a job. They're hustling to get a job just like you. And you walk and there's this sea of students just looking to get a job. And they obviously don't know where to go, so they just gravitate towards the big studios. So they go to Sony, go to Microsoft, they go over to Nintendo. And most of these places aren't hiring, right? Like they're there to showcase their stuff.
Yeah.
And they're disappointed, they're sad, they talk to a recruiter and the recruiter kind of shuts them down. It's not shut down, it's just like, oh, go to our website, xbox.com or sony.com/jobs. And you're like, yeah, I'm here now.
I could have done that from home.
Yeah, right? And stuff like, and so it was really daunting. Like the day I went there, after that year, I said, look, if I go back again next year, I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna walk prepared. I'm gonna walk with some ammunition. So I went the next time. This is after I graduated, and I actually met up with some of the guys from Warm Gun there, because what was happening at that time was it Mark Rain, who, well, I guess he is still part of Epic, but Mark Rain at the time was head of marketing at Epic, right? And he said, look, if you guys could put Warm Gun on an iPad, I'll waive the cost of Unreal 3, because back then you had to pay a premium if you want to use their engine. The engine was there, like the engine, the Unreal script and the base engine of Unreal 3 was in there free when you bought a disc copy of Unreal Tournament 3, or if you download Unreal Tournament 3. But it was like an editor tool, right? And that's when we built the game in. And he said, look, if you guys could put this game on iPad, I'll waive the cost. And we did put it on iPad. And he waived the cost. So we didn't have to pay any premium to put it on to pay for them. So we put it on the store. And back then, like, this was before Chair brought out what was the game that was popular on mobile from Chair, the Unreal game that looked like a Dark Souls-ish kind of game. And they made up the 3 versions of it. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the one where you keep dying.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of the name of it? I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That game looks really good
It's
for
really
mobile.
pretty, right?
Yeah.
Because it was one of the first
like
games to come out
Infinite
on Unreal, right?
what was that called?
I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up now.
Googling right now. I hope somebody's Googling right now to tell us some, like, win our prize or something. So we got it out before them. But we didn't have the marketing or noise or anything to get it hyped up. So anyway, when we got it out and we waived our price, the team was like super hyped, super awesome, super ecstatic and stuff. And we went and we were celebrating with it. We had guys that were 18 years old, so they couldn't drink. They couldn't go to any of the parties. So we just kind of had lunch in places. So that was when I was approached by our good pal Rob Coble, our good buddy Rob Coble.
Yeah.
And Rob said, Sledgehammer is looking for producers. Go on. Yeah, that's it. Infinity Blade. You got it. Yeah. Sledgehammer is looking for producers. Go talk to them. And it was me. It was for Sean, it was Sean Paris, and it was Michael, forget his last name, right? You know him because he comes to some of the things as well. But he used to work with Magic Leap and those guys, and I think he's at Blizzard now. Michael's at Blizzard now. Johnstone, right? The 4 of us went, and I was the only international person. I was like, holy crap. I am not going to get this job because you have 3 people that are U.S. citizens, and I don't have my work visa. I don't have any of this stuff. I'm on a student work visa for a year. What's going to happen? People that are international could tell you about that.
So this is like right after you graduated from the master's.
Right. So okay. I was on the 1-year work visa thing.
Gotcha.
So so I went to the Sledgehammer booth, and I was screened by Guy B. Do you guys know who Guy Beam is?
That name sounds real familiar.
Beam is Dr. Disrespect.
Oh, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So Guy and I met, and we hung out that entire night. He was still Dr. Disrespect, but he was just much, much smaller back then. He had his YouTube presence and stuff, right? And we hung out, and he told me at the end of the night, you don't worry, you got the job. And he said, come with me. And we went to the Prototype 2 had a launch party. Now, it was a green light party. It wasn't the game launch. It was a green light party. And it was at the W or as some would say, the W.
Yeah. W.
So W. So we went there and they had like, you know, cheese and crackers and ham and all kinds of weird stuff to eat. And I was sitting down there talking with these. I was like, dude, I am talking with Activision folks, right? Like this is super cool. And the next morning, I just contacted them and said, "Is there anything you guys want?" They said, "Yeah, sure, send your resume, whatever." And I was just hoping for the best. You know, I hope things happen. I got a call 2 weeks later with a 1 hour interview with Halon, who was at the time the design director, who is now head of studio at Sledgehammer. And I talked to him once a week, all the time still. And
I love Aaron Halon, man. Like,
yeah,
we worked together on Godfather 1
Yeah.
and 2, and we played a lot of Warhammer. We played a lot of poker. Like, I love that guy. He's awesome.
Really nice person.
One of the
really
nicest people I've ever met. Like, really is. Yeah.
Yeah, genuinely awesome. And so he was actually my first mentor as in games, and he's probably still one of my biggest mentors for for production on games. So I came in as an assistant producer onto COD. I interviewed with him, then I did a fly out, and then I was given the job, and I started about 3 weeks later, and it was a 4-month contract, and if they wanted or they liked you, they would keep you.
Yeah.
And they kept me from April till November, till the end of
Nice.
the project, right? Because I was doing stuff. And it was so good that by November, when Modern Warfare 3 was shipping, they said, "Hey, there's a position open in Minneapolis for a producer. And it's a step up. It's in publishing, though, but it's a step up from assistant producer. You'll actually be an associate producer."
Mm-hmm.
Which is in Activision terms, it's a step up before producer.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll go, I'll take it. Cold, no cold, whatever." This is you're building your career, right? So like you go where it goes, right?
Yep.
And if you can't go, so I did. So I shipped off and I started a week later at Minneapolis. Now, Minneapolis Activision is the other side of Activision, so to speak, right? So, like you say, COD is like the absolute top, and then Minneapolis is way down there, right? Like they make.
I haven't even heard of Minneapolis. So
yeah, so it's like they make Cabela, they make Zuzu Pet, they make and like I was like, look, whatever, right? I'll go make whatever. But coming off of Modern Warfare 3 to this, it felt kind of like, okay, fine, I'll do it, whatever, I'll do it. And I moved over there, and they told me, so we sent headquarters Activision sent over the Hasbro Marvel license to Minneapolis to work on, because Minneapolis runs lean, right? For people that know dev or anything, lean means you just do more with less, right? So they put me on associate producer for Transformers Prime, Fall of Cybertron, and then I was part of the Marvel Hasbro group, so I was also working on Deadpool, Spider-Man with Beanox. I was working on wherever else in that bracket, right?
Yeah.
And then because it was publishing, we kind of had hands in different things. So like I had to do all these submissions for Cabela's. I was the only one that submitted. This was Wii U launch, right? This was for Wii U launch 2012. So it's very rare to get the opportunity to work in games when you're on a launch of a platform, because it's super, super crazy during the launch of a platform. Like most of the tech on the platform isn't ready. Most of the tools that dev is working on isn't compatible with the tech that isn't ready. And you somehow have to just make it work, right? Like you just have to get it to work. And I submitted and got Prime approved super early. So then they said, "Hey, Blackouts 2 is failing submission with Nintendo," and 23 submissions, right? They did to Nintendo because they were failing.
23?
Yeah, and PS3 as well. was
Wow.
23. So PS3 for Black Ops almost didn't ship. It
Oh,
was
wow.
dangerously close. It was, yeah, in a state. Anybody that worked on PS3 360 games could tell you PS3 was a nightmare to work on as a platform. It was all backward stuff. But the what they did with the 4 though, when they did PS4 and PS5, like they fixed that really good. PS4 and PS5 became primary platforms, right? For development is great. But the cool thing that happened with that was I got a lot of experience in terms of publishing and like process that goes on
Yeah.
at the high level after coming out of trenches, right, in
Yeah.
dev, right. So it went different ways. Then they had like the big exodus at Minneapolis, where they basically canceled all the licensed IPs at Activision.
Oh.
And they said, we're killing all our IPs. There's no turnaround for us on licensed IP kind of stuff, and we kind of putting it down in terms of how much we're spending versus how much we're getting. And because they first had studios in Activision making the games, so like High Moon would make Transformers, and they would make Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, which were, in my opinion, they're some of the best Transformers games ever made, right? And but they also used to work on the movie games, which I didn't like to do. And the movie games were like quick and dirty because they had to come out with the films, and we know about that, and we worked on that before. And they just said, like, look, we're done. We're done with Transformers stuff. Like, we want to do something else. And that's when Destiny was spinning up. So they had them helping out on Destiny stuff, and Destiny wasn't even announced yet, right? But that's when Destiny spin up. And they said, look, we're getting rid of all this. So High Moon and Beanox are no longer doing licensed IPs. They're falling into the Call of Duty or Destiny bracket and helping out on those things. VV at the time was just finishing up on Vicarious was just finishing up on they just did their MUA 1 and 2, Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so they were also spinning up on Destiny because they were owning PC Destiny at the time when they were considering it. And after that happened, they didn't need all these people anymore. There were 27 producers in there, and by the time I left, there were 5. And then there was just one, and he kind of just closed up the shop. I still talk to him really, really well. His name is Scott Hawkins. He is now head of all third party for Nintendo North and South America. He's really awesome, really nice guy. I went to visit him 2019 at Nintendo. He's great. I promised to take some of the folks down from Offworld down there, because you could only shop in that store if you're with a Nintendo employee. The Nintendo store in Seattle. Yeah. When that happened is when I got the call from Coalition, which was at the time called Black Tusk Studios, and they said, hey, we're working on this unannounced game, and we need some help on production side, on outsource side. And you have just worked with a bunch of like outsourced studios on projects, because Transformers Prime was done completely with an outsourced studio. You have outsource experience, come do outsource with us. Okay, so I went up to Vancouver, and I was there for about a year before they canned the unannounced project and they acquired Gears of War. And then I started doing Gears of War and Gears of War Game of the Year, and then Gears of War 4. And I was responsible for a lot of the infrastructure stuff there, like with the infrastructure team, basically libraries and all that kind of stuff, and making sure foundations and stuff were set up for the team before my time there was up. And then that was it. I was really tired, dude. I was moving all over the place, for about 4 years, and I was dead tired. And I said, look, I'm going to take a break. I'm kind of burnt out. I need to take a break. So I went back home to Trinidad, and I said, I want to try to help build this community a little bit, the Trinidad community. So I wanted to first find out where they're at in terms of, progression. Like how are they in terms of their work? So I went to visit. They have some incubation sites that are that in the Caribbean that are funded by the government for some sort of development. I don't know what the goal is for it, but I was observing that they're just animators. They're just a bunch of animators that are doing animations in Unreal Engine and then attaching the controls to it, right? Like, it's not really game development per se. In a way it is, but they're just blueprint developers. So I said, look, we need some what do you call it? Some coders. We need C++ coders inside here, right? To do this kind of thing, which was very difficult to find in the Caribbean. These guys, like, I mean, they teach them programming for engineering.
Mhm.
So like, they're not C++ coders. They do COBOL and that kind of stuff, like the
Gotcha.
the ancient code, right? Assembly,
Programming.
Yeah. Or as Jake would say, brogram. Sorry, Jake. I'd call it, right? And we didn't really have those kind of folks, and I had to try to find a way to outsource these guys. Now, outsourcing code is not a thing, and
That's
there's a
tough.
reason for that, right? There's a reason for it, right? But I managed to pitch an idea with the team for funding for at least 5 years for them to get something off the ground. And I was working with them on that for the time. I had some interviews with a couple other studios. I had a flyout actually to Texas to this studio. I don't think they exist anymore, called 6 Foot. You know what they made? They made a game called Grey Goo. You remember that game, Grey Goo?
Yeah.
And then they made a game afterwards called Rhyme. And then they made a game. They were gonna put me on was Dreadnought. You remember Dreadnought? That was like the big cruiser battle game with the giant cruisers and low orbit fighting.
Yep.
Yeah. That's by Jaeger, right? The guys that are, I think they're doing something else now, right? But so I was gonna be like producer on that, and then things backfired on that with that studio. Things kind of contracts ended, and they shut down. That didn't work out. Then it was so weird. Like I had another interview with Starbreeze, and Starbreeze was looking at somebody for their, well, I think, yes, Starbreeze was making the Walking Dead, Left 4 Dead kind of game, right? And they said like, hey, you want to do something with us on that? We're planning on building something else. And I was like, sure. And things were going great. And then all of a sudden, I saw an article in the news that Starbreeze is being investigated for insider trading. And like police went to the studio. And I just like, all right. I get a message from HR. And HR is like, yeah, we have to stop all interviews right now because of what's happening. It's like, holy crap. Like, what is going on? Like, am I just like, is the universe trying to tell me something? I don't know, right? And after that, like, I just got a random cold call from a recruiter for a position at Offworld, saying like, hey, we're looking for a producer on Offworld. I was like, okay. And I saw Offworld had this project called Squad, and Squad was doing pretty well for them, and they were happy with it, and they wanted it to grow into something better. And they were a young studio growing into something. I was like, sure, I'll come across and help. And I actually didn't know what I was working on until I came in the first day, because they have like we had a few secret projects at the time. So when I came in, the first day, it was like, yeah, you're working on X. I was like, oh, cool, okay. And I came across and it was just, I think Chuck is here. Chuck is one of the founders from Offworld. He might be in the channel, I'm not sure. But so it was just me, Chuck, and like 2 other people. We call him Chuck. His real name is Alistair, but we call him Chuck. And we're like, yeah, we're gonna make this game X, right? We're gonna make this game. And it was just me, him, and like 2 people, and we had to figure out how to build a team, how to build everything. Process, like, this was new for the studio. Production process, pipelines, design pipeline, asset pipelines, live ops, all this stuff we had to build. And we kind of just figured it out over time. The funny thing was, this was like 2019. We built a prototype of the game. We looked at it. We said, like, hey, these things work. These things don't work. This is what we're going to do. And we started. And we got to a stage where, like, okay, we're ready for dev. And then COVID hit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right? So basically, we just, like, had to figure out how to build the game at home. And but the team was super into it. They're super eager. They're super excited about it. I would say I have never been more happier in dev than I have been at this studio. And I have had my fill of AAA. I don't ever see myself going back to AAA again.
Interesting.
Ever. Unless it paying me like ridiculous amounts of money or something. Right? But I don't see myself wanting to go back there. I like this sense of the teams loving what they build, and they build what they love and championing it with them. And that's what these folks are about. And I believe in that, because you don't get anything better than that. Like, we play the game twice a week as a team every week for the last 2.5 years.
Nice.
Like, twice a week, we are in the game playing it as a team. Everybody just floods in, and we launch up servers and we play. And that is rare in a lot of studios where they play games. They just build a game, and then they have their focus tests or their groups, that go and play the game and give them feedback on what they need to fix. And nobody really plays the game. The most I think I ever saw on COD was, the morning they'd have stand-ups, and like the studio head and people would go into the movie theater room, and they'd load up the latest build and look at it and give notes, and then they would carry those notes out to the team and tell everybody. It's like, nah, the whole team sits down and plays this game. All of us sit down and play it, right? And people talk. They say what they like. They say what they don't like. They say what they want to do. We make the notes. We have, and think, because it gives people a sense of ownership. It gives them a chance to, and it's rare in games for everybody to be able to say something. So I like to facilitate that. I love chaos, and I love bringing order to chaos.
Controlled chaos.
While still keeping the chaos, right? While still keeping chaos. Chaos is the soup of creativity. That's all the creativity comes from, that chaos soup.
I would argue that all game development is controlled chaos. Like,
that is true, or just chaos.
Yeah, well, sometimes it is just chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, a lot of the that's kind of like where I'm at right now. What a journey! Holy crap! I spent how long talking about it? Half hour? 45 minutes? Wow.
Oh, we still got a lot to cover. Don't worry.
Sure.
There's actually a question that popped up while you were chatting that I wanted to get to from Big Ape. Said, is it easier to get into production than art? I have a BS in art and a master's in game design. Should I drop the art and focus on production? And how would I show my work with no production experience?
Yeah, that is a thing. So, because production experience is only the game, right? So if you never shipped any games, then you don't have anything to show. It depends on the game. So I think the first question that I would ask this person is, do you like art or do you like production? Because if you go into one of these fields, you gotta love it, right?
Yeah. Yep. I
Don't
agree.
go into production just because you want a job in games and you don't like production. You're gonna hate yourself.
Yep.
Right. So if you like art, you stick to the art, right? And if you like the production, I could speak to the production side, right? And say, how do you get production experience without any production? You didn't ship anything. This is where the indie and the mod community comes in.
Yeah. And
right?
game jams too. Yeah.
Yeah, game jam. Like, okay, to enter into production at the associate level, at the assistant level, or the entry level for production, the simplest answer people technically give is go into QA and move into production. Because production is really management of tasks as they are in a database, as well as all the bugs that QA puts inside there and how they're handled. I would say that's more project management. production, as some people say. Go into one of these communities. There are hundreds of them now, thousands of them now, right? Kickstarters and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and just offer your services
Yeah.
to people. You know, just say, hey, I want to help. I want to help organize. I want to help you. You're not getting paid. You're probably not getting paid, and you have no experience to get paid anyway. But if they're not willing to pay, make sure they have a solid idea, something that's getting traction, something that's going somewhere, so that you can put on your resume, I am working with this team on this game, and I am helping them at a production level, right? Because most Kickstarter projects don't really have a producer. They have a game designer or a creative person who is pseudo producer.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, that is actually how producers came about in games. The legend says that producers originated because the game designer, the lead designer at the time, was the person owning the project. And what was happening was games that came up would have, you play a lot of those old NES and some Super Nintendo games that you notice, they have some levels that are great and some levels that totally suck. And there wasn't uniformity across the game. And it was because the designer liked some levels and gave it more love and didn't like these other levels and didn't really. So enter this producer aspect where they basically got a project manager from the banks or database or someplace like that to come in and have an impartial view to the game and ask the team, is this up to the standard you guys want it to be? Okay, cool. If it is, then we're going to maintain it. If it's not, we're going to... So my advice is to step into production. It would mean just putting yourself out there and telling folks that you want to help with things. You don't go on Twitter and you don't go on social media and say, I'm a producer, and I'm looking. But go on the channels. Like, you need to take the step. You need to take the step and reach out to people and say that you want to help. And producers, I might look it, I probably don't look it, but I'm a very introverted person. But you need to be extroverted to be a producer. You're communicating with multiple disciplines. You're talking to design, who talks to code, who talks to tech art, who talks to QA, talks to narrative, and everybody speaks a different language, and you have to speak all of it.
Yeah.
Right? And you need to be able to come up with a common language that they can understand. So it helps to be energetic or extroverted and stuff like that. But that's my 2 cents.
I agree with that. And it's interesting too, because you touched there on the end, the thing that I was thinking about through that, which is like Big 8 mentioned, he said he wants to do it all, right? Like wants to have his hand in everything. And that can lead well into production because you have an interest in those things and you can learn the things you need to be able to talk effectively amongst all the different disciplines. So even if you're not actively participating, you can have those good conversations with everyone. And a lot of times what producers will do is if they come from or have a background in code or in design or whatever, they may be the person who's over that discipline because they have such a connection with it. So there's a lot of opportunities with things like that.
Yeah, I agree. You can your chances or your opportunities for production improve the more you work on. Like, the more I remember, there was a time we had a producer in Activision who was looking at an associate producer who worked for like a year on a bunch of small projects, and then one guy that came out halfway through a big project that was canceled. And the senior producer, his name is Matt. Matt is now one of the principal producers on Halo. And Matt was saying, I would take this guy who worked a year on all these small projects over this guy that worked on this big game that canceled, because he knows how to ship a title. The guy that worked on the small projects, right? Like, Jameson could tell you, I could tell you, anybody here that makes games could tell you, shipping the game, getting it on the store, shipping the game, not finishing it. That is very hard to do.
Sure is.
It is very hard to do, right?
I was talking to somebody about that the other day, and we're talking about how like the first 80%, anybody can contribute to that. The closing part though, man, that it is so much, like, it's not 20% of the work, right? Like, not even close.
Yeah, like that last part, I wouldn't say last part, but the part that before you go to ship, the last 6 months
Mhm.
or so makes the difference between a successful game and a failed game.
I believe so.
Like all
Yeah.
the tech is there, all the systems are there. They're great, they're cool, but it's how they're conveyed to the player and how they understand to play the game.
Yep.
And that is where the it's the fine tuning, and it's a very exhaustive and time consuming process,
Yeah.
right? To make changes to things. Yeah.
But we do it, right? Like I
We do
feel
it.
like most of the development happens in the last 6 months, right? Like we make a lot of changes we didn't expect to make.
Yeah. It's always the case. You see, like we always try. They always try to put stuff in, but they have a time where putting stuff in isn't going to make it better. It's the stuff that's in that needs to be polished. It needs to be in a really awesome state. The best problem to have with a game is for somebody to say the game is awesome. I wish there was more of it, right?
Yeah,
Than
right.
for somebody to say it's a long game, it's okay, it takes a while. I get it, it's cool,
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So like yeah, it's a kind of state. I really we could talk about this too. The state that the industry is in right now. I remember I talked to you a little bit about it when we were talking offline the other day. Yeah, if we want to talk about that, we can talk about that.
Hey, we've got another hour. We can talk about whatever we want.
Anything.
But before we do move on too far, we are at the halfway point. So I have a set of questions that I want to ask you that I call the dev round. You ready for this?
Oh shit. Okay, let's go.
All right. First question. What is your favorite game of all time and why?
Contra 3 Alien Wars.
Oh, snap.
Because the second level of the game, which is the factory level, is probably the best level I've ever played in a game ever.
All right.
It starts off with you hanging on the rails, killing enemies, fighting a boss in the air, climbing up a wall, dodging a boss. It like they threw everything and the kitchen sink at that level. There's like 4 boss fights in that game, in that level alone, and the last boss is the one that rips through the wall and you shooting the fire. Yeah. That game I will play forever.
Man, I forgot about that. That was a really good game.
That genre and beat 'em up games. I told the CEO of our studio, is like, dude, if I had my way, I would just make beat 'em up games for the rest of my life. I like Streets of Rage 4 is my jam.
That game is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the roguelike mode that they just put in. I just like that. I grew up in the arcade with my Final Fights and my Sega Genesis Streets of Rage.
Dude, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that's coming out, Shredder's Revenge. I have not been more excited for a game in a long time.
Yeah, and I saw Konami is bringing back all the old Ninja Turtles games, and it's like, woo! I hope they do everything. I hope they bring the arcade version and then the crappy NES version.
They're all in there.
Turtles in Time arcade version and then the SNES version. And then the Hyperstone. I want everything.
It's like 13 games in that bundle. Yeah, that one looks awesome too. Yeah.
And then when Limited Run has their thing, I get that too.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Man, that's exciting.
Yeah. Next question.
All right. When did you first feel like you had made it in game development? Ooh. You're being very
Modern
thoughtful.
Warfare 3. Modern Warfare 3.
All right.
Yeah. That was like, I mean, it doesn't get better than top of the food chain from there, right? Like at that time, that was it. Good group. A lot of those guys in Sledgehammer are not there anymore, but the energy in Sledgehammer from Mod 3 was so good because that team never worked on a card before, so they were like mega hype for it, right?
Yeah.
FYI, that Sledge team is the ex-Dead Space team, which are now making close to Protocol.
Well, it was a mix of Dead Space and Godfather. You worked with a lot of people I used to work with.
Okay, yes. Like Demetrius and
like Greg Reisdorf, Josh Katz.
Yep. I know Restoff really good.
Yeah.
Katz is awesome. I know Rosie, his wife.
Yep.
I talked to them really good. What about Chris Stone and those guys too?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's
So yeah,
a lot of those guys I used to work
yeah,
with. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like, real cool guy. Josh Katz was a really nice guy. Um, yeah, yeah, interesting. What about what's his name? Casper.
Yep. Ask
Casper.
Casper about dodgeball
Yeah.
over at EA.
Casper's that guy. I like talking to him. He's that guy. Yeah, real nice, real nice. They were very excited, and it was an energy that is very rare to have. Inside a studio, they were excited to make it. Yeah,
Yeah, that was such a good group, and I was really happy for all those guys, because one, they got to work on something great. Most of them got, they moved up into bigger positions, as they did it. So it was a really exciting time. I loved hearing about it.
Greg is head of MP now.
Yeah,
At Sledge. Yeah. Yeah, some of them did some really cool stuff.
yeah. All right. What advice would you give to someone who's looking for their first job in the industry?
Don't give up. Ever. Don't give up. You will. Here's the thing. Don't give up, and listen to, like, don't be discouraged by recruiters, because they have some recruiters there. I'll be straight up, they just don't know what they're doing. Right? No matter how believable they sound, they don't know they don't know what they're talking. Right? They say, like, oh, we're so excited, and everybody comes in. It's like, no, they don't. No, they don't. They're tired. So and that's one advice. The second thing is, do your research on the studios and their culture, because it's super important. I talked to a guy at Full Sail who was graduating at the time when I was there, and he said he wants to work at Rockstar, and I was like, cool. Why you want to work at Rockstar? It's like, I like their games. I said, that's not a reason to work at Rockstar. Do you know Rockstar's culture? Rockstar works real hard on their project. Like, you need to live and breathe that stuff. If you're there.
There's a lot of burnout that used to happen there.
A lot of
I've heard it's getting better, but there was a lot of burnout.
Well, they had a big exodus from Rockstar San Diego, right?
Yeah.
Halfway through Red Dead 2, which is why all of them went to Bungie, and Red Dead 2 got delayed for a year. So they and then they shifted Red Dead 2 to Rockstar Toronto that did Grand Theft Auto, and San Diego wasn't happy, but at the end of the day, they work, like, you need to live and breathe those games that they work on there. So it's hard.
Yeah.
So he said he wasn't paying attention to me, right? And he said, well, I spoke to a guy, and he said he'd put in a good word. I was like, what does that even mean, a good word? Like, you need to get your foot in the door, right? And that is direct contact with people. Like, start with the community. Make sure you have a LinkedIn account. Catalog your stuff in terms of your achievements that are tailored to your work. I remember a lot of junior guys coming into games would send me their resume, and they would write, like, John Smith, producer, designer, programmer. It's like, so you want to do everything? It's actually, and they would say, yeah, I want to do everything. Actually, when you send a resume that says that to a big studio, it's an insult to the studio, because you're telling them that they suck at their job because all you guys do is production, or all you guys do is programming, or all you guys do is design, and I can do all. Right? So tailor your resume to suit the area that you want to go into. The bigger the game is, the more specific you have to be.
All right. Oh, so good question in chat. How do you learn about a studio's culture?
This is something that's hard to do. It's a lot of reading between the lines, and it takes time to do it. But because of social media, stuff comes out very often, right? Like, it leaks out very often. Don't take everything at face value. Some stuff is like, they over exaggerate it. because of tabloids like Kotaku and these kind of people like to over exaggerate it to get clicks and so on. But how it worked for me is you would find the developers that you're interested in. You'd see them talking on a vlog or like a developer diary. You go and you find them on LinkedIn. You look at them on LinkedIn. You add them to LinkedIn and just say, hey, I wanted to add you to my LinkedIn profile. You don't pitch yourself to them to work. You just say, I want to add you to my LinkedIn profile as a connection because I'm in games and stuff. And then you go look for them on Twitter because a lot of them tweet, right? And just observe how they talk, how they respond, how they say things. Some of them stream, and you get an idea if it's something you like to be part of.
Yeah.
Don't fall for the recruitment videos. That's bullshit. Like
some of them are.
Yeah. read like talk to the people. Like if you're interested in production, there are producers that are on LinkedIn and Twitter and these kind of people, and you talk to them, and
so that's one thing that I have to think about this from the eyes of someone who is not yet in the industry, because you and I, we at least know someone who knows someone everywhere, right? So if we're interested in a studio, we can ask directly to someone who works there, or ping a friend who worked there or knows someone there. Like we can get that information. But one of the things that I found people having success with in the past is using LinkedIn. You can search by company, right? So you can search to see who works there, see if you have any common connections. And if you do, ask your friend to ask them to connect, right? So then you make that connection there.
Some of them don't allow it, right? Like they have like premium, and you need to have like a premium invite. And you can't even message them and all that kind of stuff. But people are usually pretty good about answering questions about what they do and where they work, right? As much as they can say about what they work, where they work, right? And one thing and this is the thing that I tell people just in networking in general, is one thing that everyone knows how to talk about is themselves. So if you ask people about themselves, like, what do you do? Like what's your day like? Those kind of things. People generally are happy to answer those kind of questions as long as they're available and, you're not interrupting them, that kind of thing. I'm going to ask you the next question. And this is one of my favorite questions. Oh boy.
If you were born in the year 1870, what kind of job or career do you think you would have had?
I don't know, probably something to do with ships.
Like seafaring? Like
seafaring.
Like what interests you about that?
I like pirates. Really?
You want to be a pirate?
I want to be a pirate. I got a jar of dirt.
Wow. That's really interesting. All right. I mean, I guess you are from the Caribbean, so I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess generally speaking we are. Yeah, I mean I am. Well, my wife's here, so yeah, we are.
All right. So I added a new question to this today.
Oh damn. Okay.
And this one's easy. But who would you recommend that I reach out to come on to this show?
Ari.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You would love Ari.
Oh, I love Ari.
Oh my god. Yeah. He is Ari and Aaron Eberhard. If you get Aaron to come on.
Aaron's already been on. Yep.
Ari should be on here. John Stone's an interesting guy to talk to now. He's got like stories, because like Blizzard has been his dream studio forever. Finally got in Blizzard, and he's on back end, which is, I mean, they ain't going nowhere, right? Back end is like, you work on back end for a studio, you have job security,
right?
Forever, right? So he's in that point. He's on Battle.net back end. So he's a good guy. We chat all the time, and he has had a trip, right? Like he's been at EA. He was build engineer at EA on Madden. Then he went across to Magic Leap when Magic Leap had their heyday. When they had the thing, he went across. I forget where he went after that, and then he ended up at Blizzard. And also, you had our boy, the guy with the amazing hair.
Will.
Will.
Yeah, Will's been
the
on a
hair.
few times. Yeah.
Yeah. Will has the gravity defying hair. Nobody does the hair like Will.
I
Nobody.
agree. Last I talked to him or saw him, he actually grown it out and was doing like a ponytail. So I was like, huh.
Whoa.
So I'll be curious
Whoa.
to see if he puts that up, what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I want to see what that's. Yeah. Yeah. So that's who I recommend. Like first and foremost, my boy Ari. Yeah.
I will do this.
Man, we had some fun. I remember a time Ari and I sat down and played Gears of War 2 and wrote down the number of times you reload your weapon in a level to see how many bullets to kill it. And it was so stupid. Like it was
That's
some
fun,
stupid
though.
thing. We didn't really know design and stuff. We just like coming up with ideas. It's like, hey, let's see how long it takes to get the bullets to kill an enemy.
I mean, that's a really good way to kind of analyze the design of something, right? I mean,
yeah, it is. It is. It was the first level of Gears 2. We were just playing it to see. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Definitely reach out to him. I'll bug him right now.
No, I'll definitely reach out to him. I'll text him later and just see what I know.
Yeah.
Some places, some roles are, some companies prefer that you don't, right?
So, funky things. Yeah.
Epic has been tough, but I did get Zach Lowry on here, who's the lead on Fortnite now. So I think he opened the door, if nothing else.
Ari's producer on Unreal 5. He's on the engine side.
Yep.
So he'd be awesome to talk to about that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I will definitely reach out to him very soon.
Nice. Any more questions? No new questions?
We got.
What about chat questions?
I don't think there's anything in particular at the moment, but I have lots of questions. I always have questions.
Let's go.
Tell me about a time in your career where you weren't sure how you were going to solve a problem.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much everything then.
Yeah, well, there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, I think the first time I hit a wall was when I was on COD. I have like a bunch of them, but the first one was on COD where we had 140 people in Sledgehammer working on Modern Warfare 3, and that team was mostly working on campaign, right? And then we had all of Infinity Ward working on multiplayer and some campaign, and we had Treyarch working on one campaign level and some co-op stuff, and Raven was working on all the rest of the co-op, right? Which was at the time that I was Spec Ops, right? Spec Ops, and I had to figure out. By the way, I don't know if people know, I had to use Bugzilla to track bugs. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Real OG stuff. So I was asked to find a way to filter the bugs by studio and then by discipline.
Okay.
Right? And specifically, they just want to know how many bugs per discipline in Sledgehammer in that entire database needs to get vetted and handled by Sledge.
Pretty crucial information. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to go into Bugzilla. I sat, and one of the senior producers showed me like some of the odds and ends with it, and I started to write a script. And I had to script everybody in the studio into Bugzilla, all their names into to look for them. And then so I had a name list of everybody in the studio, but I didn't know what they did. So I had to go and talk to every single person in the studio to find out what they did.
Oh, wow.
So I knew who was and stuff, right? Some of them, yeah, I do art. Some of them, get away. Like it depends, right? So I go and talk to them, I get those names, and then I would filter it. I used to have to come into work for 7:30 in the morning and pull down the bug database, which was like 300,000 to 400,000 bugs. and it would take about 20 minutes to pull that database down, and then I would run the filter. That would take another 20 minutes to run, and then I was able to get the list that I needed and distill it, and then put that number on a sticky note and stick it up on Halon's wall so he could see by discipline how many bugs per level per discipline. And then I would have to walk into Condry's office and give Condry a weekly report of the same thing. So every Friday I'd be in Condry's office and I'd give him, Condry is the COO, of how many were there, right? And yeah, that's how I solved that problem.
Wow.
It was really painstaking at first, but after that was done, I didn't have to go through all that. It was just waiting. And so you wait for it to pull down where you're going to make your coffee, have cereal, whatever.
Man, that's I think, first of all, I can't imagine not using bug software that does all of that stuff on its own now, right? Like,
yeah, right.
Like everything, like Jira, whatever, dev track.
You just press a button and everything's there, right?
Yeah.
Like you just tag it and
it's all tags. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
it wasn't like that. And also we had a problem. Like, so anyone that played Modern Warfare 3 knew it had like different levels. So it was like Germany and Paris and stuff, right? So we knew the levels that we were working on. Like we would be working on the Paris level, and Treyarch was working on the castle level. Infinity Ward was working on the London level. So I would basically look for Paris, and I would put Paris in the search and pull down all the Paris bugs. But it then turned out that our team was pulling the pipes from the Paris level and putting it in the London level because they were using assets, right?
Yeah.
As props or stuff like that. So I was pulling down London level bugs. Okay, let's not do that again, right? They would use like Paris pipe _1, and it would be in a different level because they needed it.
Well, yeah, I mean you want to reuse assets like that, right? So that's good use of an asset, but when you're trying to track it, that makes things a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, right. And then the thing is, like, you don't want to rename the same asset. Blah, blah, blah. Like, we started to get into the weeds here. They also put me to manage the asset database, where to prevent people from prevent people from buying assets multiple times. So
Right.
like in Modern 3, somebody went and bought a tuk-tuk, right, that we needed for the India level to blow up. That needs to blow up. And they put it in the game. And then somebody at Infinity Ward went and bought the same asset again.
Oh.
This is and it's a destructible. It's an $800 asset that they just bought twice.
Oh,
and they didn't
man.
know, right? And so they said, hey, we want to manage. So what I did was, for some reason, the senior producer who was managing me wanted me to use Microsoft Access, which I don't think exists anymore. He said, I want you to build an Access database. So I built this Access database by Studio, and every Friday I would just send that list to Halon and send the list to Halon's equivalent at Infinity Ward, and they would just see, they're like, okay, you have this and you have this, okay, right, you don't have to buy all these things. So yeah, there's a bunch of problems, dude. I think the craziest problem that I've ever had to deal with was a mess up where so we had a Japanese studio working on Transformers Prime, but we hired a US writer to write the script for Transformers Prime.
Okay.
And the Japanese studio took and they made some edits to the script that they wanted to put in the game, and it was in English, right? Like proper English. And I took that and I sent it to Hasbro to approve. And Hasbro looked at it and said, oh yeah, you guys just need to change some things here, change some things there. And then when I sent it back to the original narrative guy, he's like, what the hell is this? This is not my work, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, uh-oh. I mixed up the script. So
oh no.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as some other people that cause, like, I don't know, very expensive problems to solve, but That was one.
Man, one time I got so sick that I gave it, and I
know
gave it
that
to
story.
the whole team.
I know this story. Go ahead. Go ahead. Listen, I'm gonna get some water, so I'm just closing my camera for a second.
Yeah, no,
Go ahead.
I got so sick, and we were finishing up. It was on the Simpsons game. We were finishing our Core X, which was our vertical slice essentially. And so I was like there working, and it would take like a half hour for the things to build. So I would lay down on a couch nearby and rest. Like I was working around the clock for the most part. Then I got so sick that I thought I was going to die, but almost the entire team caught it. So talking about an expensive mistake, everyone think about the amount of man hours that we lost over, 100 people or so roughly getting sick and taking time off. For that. I did get an award for that, the Umbrella Corporation award. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the launch party. So,
wait, what was the Simpsons game you worked on?
It was the Simpsons game. Yeah.
Okay. So our CEO, Vlad, was lead on Simpsons Hit and Run game, which was a big hit.
Oh, yeah.
Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah. That was the one right before what we worked on. So the one we did, we worked with Gracie. So we had all the writers on it. We worked, directly with all of their producers and everything, which was super cool. It could be frustrating at times, but yeah, it was a wild experience. And we basically, the premise of the game was that the Simpsons find out they're in a video game. So we got to do cool levels like, a Medal of Honor type level and an EverQuest level and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
that's
it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a similar experience, but not as fun, which was with the Family Guy game.
Oh yeah. Your camera's still off. Are you back yet?
We worked on so I was on the publishing side of the team for Family Guy Back to the Multiverse. And they had so much crazy crap that happened. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah,
Welcome
crazy
back.
crap that happened on that game. And it took we could not get approval for to get the voice acting of Seth.
Oh wow!
To do because he was $200,000 a session, right? and they just told us no, you can't do it, and we said, well, we can't ship Family Guy without your voices. It'll just be crap, right? Like nobody wants that. So we kind of just went over Bobby's head and bought it.
Oh,
yeah, we did. He said no, and at the head of Minneapolis just went over his head and just went and got him to come in.
I mean how can you not? Like he literally does like all the voices.
He does all the. Actually, we got Cleveland. Cleveland came in. He was super cool. Mila Kunis came in. She was super cool. She was sick and she still did it.
Oh wow!
And Seth was busy doing TED 2 or TED at the time, and like we couldn't get him, and it ended up working out at the end of the day. But that was a hell of a project.
I bet. I didn't know you worked on that.
Yeah.
I think that was happening around the time we were working on the Simpsons game, because I remember it was roughly like 2000. I think we shipped that in 2006.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was around that time.
This was the 2011 game.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, wasn't there? Then maybe it was different, because there was one that popped up earlier. I thought
there was one, a PS2 one, I think.
Yeah.
There's a PS2 one. Yeah, this was Simpson. This is Family Guy Back to the Multiverse or something.
Okay.
Or something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Family Guy the video game was 2006. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
High Voltage did that. Okay.
Yeah. Holy crap, they're still around doing the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they?
Buddy that was on last week is the lead designer there. So.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, man. A lot of those interesting things that come about or happen when you hear about these things that happen. I also talk about. I always tend to ask somebody. So I have a question for you. What was the first how to put it, commercial game that you ever worked on?
Okay, so now first commercial game that released.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
let's talk about that.
So I actually don't talk about this one very much. I worked at a small startup that didn't last very long, and then when that shut down, that's when I moved in with Roger Cotton, our mutual friend. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
I lived in his garage for a few months. while I
Wow.
was looking
Yeah,
for
he was
work.
telling me that you guys kind of like bunked
Yeah,
bunked together.
it was
Didn't have a
awesome.
place to stay. You didn't have a
Dude,
place to stay.
he 100% like saved my life, which was awesome. Like I had nowhere to go, nothing to do. And
Yeah.
so as I'm looking, I ended up getting this job at a smaller studio called Lucky Chicken Games, and they were
Woo.
working with TDK was the publisher, and they were working on the Casper game for the PS2. And so, and it was
That's up in
finishing
full
up.
sale.
What's that?
That's up in full
Yep,
sale on
sure
the wall
is.
somewhere.
Yeah. That's where I got my first credit as QA. And actually, I've got the box right up there. I don't know if you can see it. It's right.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
so here's let me tell a couple stories about that place because it was a wild time. They hired me on and then immediately went into crunch where it was mandatory 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and 8 hours on Sunday. So I didn't get a day off for like 3 months and was crunching the whole time. I got super sick. Like it was the first time I got sick. I got really, really bad. But the thing that sucked about it was that I was trying to help them finish this game, and I did like there was not enough dev kits to go around, so I couldn't like here it's on PS2. The only way to play it, we had one kit for 3 people that were trying to do this. So a lot of time there was literally nothing I could do, but I had to be there. So it was just such a frustrating experience. But in the end, you know, they shipped it. I got a QA, you know, credit on it. So that was my first ship title. So that was, and that's big in this industry.
Yeah, it's big. Just to say that you come nowadays, it's I wouldn't say it's easier, but like they're hiring technical folks like nuts. Like once you're coding, I would always tell people do code. But it's really do what you love to do. But code is they will hire you like that. Like, and I ain't kidding. You know, like you graduate with your degree in computer science or in code with C++, you're in.
Yep.
You know, even at some level, tools level, whatever it is. You know, you need to do C# because a lot of the tools are C# tools sometimes. And tools programmers are super important people you need to have. You know, engine knowledge too is useful, and the engines are free. Like last time I touched Unity was when I was at Full Sail. When I went back to Full Sail, so I knew Jameson from before, but we didn't actually meet in person until like 2016 when I actually was on my break from games and I went back to Full Sail to actually spend a year learning code. And it wasn't to be a programmer; it was just to understand code better from the code side. And we chatted a lot then. And what I learned is we were messing around inside Unity at that time. I haven't touched Unity since then. And just the other day, I downloaded Unity again. And well, nobody uses. I guess Jake will talk about this too. Nobody uses Visual Studio anymore, right? At least nobody in our studio uses. Everybody uses Rider now, right? For their stuff. And so I just got Rider and I started to get myself back into Unity again and messing around with it. Because I tell you, dude, before I die, I'm gonna build that beat 'em up something. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. You know. So
you got a lot of itches to scratch. So
yeah, dude, like I really want to build something like that. Like somehow, I don't know how. You know, the real pitch would be to go to some publisher and say, "Just give me $1 million, I'll make you a game, and I'll make it a really good game."
How long do you think it would take you?
It would take me 2 years, and it'll be a team of 4.
Okay.
No more than 4. You know, outsource what I need to, and then and spend that time. Yeah, it's going to be 2 years. 2 years to like build, dev, test, push out. It's going to be a year of what I'm doing right now, which is just exploring stuff, knowing the market, knowing where to go, what to build. All that stuff has to be ready if I start those 2 years. Like, there's a lot of stuff I noticed with the people that play games or like the fan base and developers. where there's some kind of disconnect here, where what the developer explains or says and how it's interpreted by the community is sometimes not, they don't align, right? Like something's missing here. And you know, they have, yeah, in between all the trolls and all the people making their jokes and stuff, that there's some misunderstanding about how the effort to make a feature or to build something into the game versus how easy it is to take that feature and improve on it and fix it and make it better. And I don't think, I don't know if the community is misunderstood or is not understanding, or some people just get bored listening to the breakdown, you know, and they just do it, just patch it, you know. Like that's a easy thing to do, right? And to address issues and stuff like that, it you start to realize it goes into so many, it involves so many different people. So the first thing is, game's not, this feature isn't doing well, and how are we going to fix it? And then you need to find out why it's not doing well, and then you need to talk to the people with the money and say, I need money to fix the thing that's not doing well. And then you need to convince the people with the money that if you fix the thing that's not doing well, it's going to make money, right? And then you have to go and figure out how to fix the thing then, right?
Yeah.
So there's like all those things that happen, and the people that have the money are really the people that play games. So you need to know how to break it down for them in a way that they can understand, so you could get your money, and then you could go to your team and say, we have this money to go fix this thing, you know. So it's a process. It takes time. They want to, what some people would ask, like, why does it take so long to fix this thing? It's like, that's why, you know, like you need to go through these channels, otherwise you ain't getting no money to do nothing. And we're at a state now in dev where developers want their due, right? Like, if you paying us crap, we're not gonna work for you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're treating us bad, we're gonna walk out. And you're seeing that happen with studios now. And it's a shift. It's a shift. I think it's a good thing to because, I mean, Jake could tell you all about his experience at Amazon.
Yeah.
He tell you all about that.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Jake is a brilliant programmer. He just doesn't want to work in games anymore. I
That's
tried
fair.
to ask him.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
He's everywhere. As soon as he gets the pool and the really big house,
he's already done that. So
problem solved. You're good to go.
Yeah, it's games are not for everyone, right? Like there's a lot about game development that I think if you're not into it, you're not interested in it, would be frustrating, right? Like there's a lot of especially with programming in particular, because generally in programming, it's here's the spec, make the thing, right?
Yeah.
That's step one in game development. Here's the idea, make the thing. Now let's try the thing. Does it fit with the other things? You know, you know, like we start that, right? Like it's a start in the process. And there's a whole lot of like, hey, let's change the thing. Let's alter the thing. Let's fix the thing. Like,
let's
not
do
it's
something
not
else with the thing. Let's try this thing. Yeah. And then there's a lot of things that happen during the development of the product that you just have no control of, right? Yep. So let's just say you come up with this unique thing, of some kind of guy who's able to drill underground and that's his special ability, drills down underground and does stuff and he fight bosses like that. And then some other game comes out with a very similar idea with a bigger budget, and it just you know blows you away. And there's nothing you could do about it. Your game's been approved, greenlit, you're in development, production, and it just so happens that you cross paths with it. And although these two games are different, Overwatch cross paths with Battleborn, right? And they're different games, but it doesn't matter. They're hero shooters, and people just saw it and said, Blizzard game, Gearbox game.
Yep.
Which do I want? And it was just, Blizzard just had way more marketing power, and they got themselves out on the market more.
Yeah.
I love I love Gearbox games, right? I love their things, so I was willing to give Battleborn a shot. I like the idea. I played the demo. I like the campaign. Then they started to have this PvP stuff, which was not. I don't know what they were doing, but whatever happened, it didn't work, right?
Mm.
With Battleborn, and I had some folks that worked there and worked on Battleborn, and you know they were let go because of this bad call that they did, you know. And but it just so happened. Same thing with what was the other game that came out? It was Paladins as well.
Yep.
It's Paladins
Yep.
or yeah. Or even like the games that try to compete with League, right? Like when Epic tried to compete with League with their MOBA, and then Heroes of the Storm, which is a fun game to play, but League already has the League people, Dota already has the Dota people. It's just you don't know, right? You don't know. You just have to work on what you like. In some cases, it's a sure bet. Like, okay, nobody else is going to make a Spider-Man game because we're making Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Man thing, right?
Right.
But it does not mean that somebody's going to come out with Sticky Man and try to
Right.
make some kind of, Sticky Man and do some kind of sticky,
Sticky man.
yeah, right. And I mean, you look on Steam, man. I love the Steam indie market.
Yeah.
They have so much good stuff that come out on there to just eclipse the stuff that you see on console. The kind of games that come out is just from like the farthest reaches of your mind. They're on Steam, you know. And who would have thought that Vampire Survivors would be like the biggest game, and it's just an idle shooter.
Yeah.
We just can't stop playing it, right? Just best $3 ever.
I haven't played that yet. I'll take a look.
Do this. It is a ridiculously silly and addictive game, and it's tons of fun. And you'll hate yourself for playing it, but you don't care because it's fun. It's really
That's the best
it's just-
kind.
yeah, it's just something. Like V Rising is basically the new Valheim, right? V Rising is Valheim with vampires,
Okay.
and people love it. You know, like people love this kind of style game for whatever reason. They love it. They just love and V Rising has some PvP in it, so it's like throw a little PvP in there. It's broken, doesn't matter. You know, it's just fun to do. It's just fun to do.
So that actually, there's actually a question in the chat that's along these lines, which is, how do you go about figuring out what the upcoming trends are in gaming?
Yeah. There are different ways to go about it. It really boils down. I can simply just say, how much money do you have, right? To be able to pay for some community like NPD or somebody to pull their data down and sell it to you. If not, which most of us can't do, you need to have a finger on the pulse. And games are so broad now, and the genres are so far apart now. I think we were talking about this earlier. Like Jeff Gertzman left Giant Bomb because he just couldn't. It was just so much happening to him at the time, and he said, like, back in the day, Giant Bomb and GameSpot and IGN and all these places was this one-stop shop for game reviews and games, and people would go there to see what the latest review for the latest game is, and that was where they went. But today, you have Twitch streamers and YouTubers that dedicate their channels just to a game. Like, you want to know about Destiny 2, you go to this guy channel. You want to hear about Warzone, you go here. Warframe, you go here. You know, League, you go here. You have your favorite person.
Yep.
And there's no longer a one-stop shop that does those things. So if you want to know what's the latest trend, you kind of just have to pick your poison. Like, what do you like? What kind of games you like? Like, for me, I like my beat 'em up games, which is very small community. When it comes out, it has this. It drops a little bomb, and people hear about Streets of Rage 4, or they hear about Ninja Turtles, but nobody heard of the Takedown. Nobody heard of the Streets of Rage 4 clone that came out, which is actually really, really good. And it lets you know, like, if you want to make a game like that, you're going to either have to get an IP, or you're going to have some sort of leverage in terms of getting your name out there so people are able to know what it is. If it's something like, what's the next big thing after this type of game, this genre? I don't know. And nobody really does in terms of like big time trends. Like right now, I think the big time trend that's coming in is GaaS games coming onto console, right? Which is free to play games are now breaking out of mobile and coming onto console and coming onto PC, and there is no escaping it. And you can hate it as much as you want. It's coming, right? And that's the next thing, right? And before that, it was Fortnite, right? Fortnite's already downtrending, right? And the reason why is the generation of players that grew up playing Fortnite have grown up, and now they're living their lives, and they are looking for a job. They have families and stuff, so they stop playing Fortnite, right? And the younger generation that was playing Fortnite, that used to watch their big brother play Fortnite, is now playing Roblox, right? Or something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And which is a GaaS game, right? And GaaS is games as a service. And before Fortnite, it was, what was before League? I guess before League was COD, before COD was Halo, before Halo was Unreal and Doom and Quake and stuff, whatever, right? And like it's just going to keep changing, because somebody mentioned to me, we are in a world now where Halo is free and people don't care. I would say they don't care, but yeah, right? It's like Halo is free and people are not like, people just like, yeah, like for us, like 10 years ago, you tell people that Halo is free to play, they would lose their mind.
Well, Master Chief is just that guy from Fortnite, right? Like,
right? It's a hell of a thing, right? So I don't know. It's a huge change for development side, because we have to figure out how to make content fast for players that is engaged and keeps them coming back and wanting to play games on a daily basis, dude. I don't know how to do that. Like, how do we keep people coming back every single day? We want something new. It's like, it takes 6 months to a year to build a big map, right? And test it and roll it out and stuff. So we can't make one for you next month. It can't work, right? Like, even if we had all the people, it still won't work.
If you could, then they would complain that it wasn't included in the game to begin with, right? So
yeah, or something, right? Or something. And they always want more. And the bar is always raising. And I don't know if there's a ceiling. I think it'll just raise and then shift, and then raise and then shift, and then raise and then shift. GaaS is the current way to handle pushing content out to players on a regular basis to keep them engaged without having dev to work around the clock and kill themselves to roll stuff out, and that's a process too. Man, it's a hell of a time. I kind of miss the simple games, right? Like Contra 3.
Yeah, dude.
Contra 3, man.
I think that's a big part of why classic games and then remakes are so big right now, because a lot of us do miss that. I miss shorter games too, right? Like, give me something I can beat in 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah, like a weekend, right?
Yeah,
a weekend. Mm-hmm. It was a thought that was coming up. I was having a discussion with somebody about all these remakes that are coming out, and some people are excited for them, but they're making so Modern Warfare 2 they showed gameplay today, or they showed a reveal today. They announced Resident Evil 4. They're remaking a lot of these games, and that's cool. Like, we grew up playing some of those games, and that's great and that's fun. But this generation of players want their games. So where are their games, their original games, right? Because last generation, were people that were growing up on COD, and they said they love Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2, and that was great. And the generation before would have the things that they like. They grew up with like with Insomniac with their Ratchet and Clank games. They grew up with their, their God of War games, and they like that. But like, we want something new. We want something, because this generation wants their games to remember, and they don't want to play Resident Evil 4 that came out 10 years ago or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They want their game. You're right though. Original IP is too risky, and so remake, yes, that is correct. It's too risky. It's too expensive. Yeah, that is a big part of it. Like, you see how long they took? They took 7-8 years to make Skyrim. They're taking God knows how long to make Starfall, right? Because it's a new IP. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, if you want to do it in a way that's worthwhile, right? Like, if well, speaking of a game like that, right? Focusing on a new IP instead of making the next Elder Scrolls, putting all of your resources into that, it's a big gamble, right?
It's also a question with your team too, because your team gets tired of making the same game all the time.
That happens too,
right?
Yeah,
and you lose people because of that. So you would lose a brilliant designer or a brilliant coder or a brilliant artist because they're like, dude, I don't want to work on Elder Scrolls anymore. So, but the fans love it. They can't wait for the next one. It's like, yeah, but like they've been playing it since 2009 or 2011 or whatever, right? Right, 2011. But we've been playing it since 2005.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like we are done. Right. So the money helps. It goes away, but I can tell you, there comes a point where it doesn't matter how much money you're paying them.
Well, like we talked about before, I think in this industry you have to care about the work, right?
Yeah.
And you need new challenges. Like, I think that's a big part of what we do. And if you're working on the same thing over and over, that desire to be challenged, I think it gets a little difficult in that way.
Yeah. And also, you have people at your studio they have young people at your studio that want to build their career and they want to ship games.
Right.
And if you're taking 7 years to make a game, they're going to leave. Right? That young talent that you're trying to bolster and grow inside your studio, they're going to leave and move to work on FIFA 2095, right? Or whatever. Because that rolls out every single year on time, on schedule, and it's something to put under your belt to say that you know about a project cycle.
And advancement opportunities, right? If you're on the same game for 7 years, you've got the same lead, most likely. There's much less turnover or more specifically room for opportunity if you're on the same thing for too long. Right.
That's why for a long time at Blizzard, there was very little movement inside the studio for positions. Like, I would see an AP position show up, an associate producer position show up in Blizzard. Like, once one position would show up like every 2 years.
Oh wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And like for an associate producer. And it's because they only work on WoW. Like at the time, they were working on WoW, they worked on StarCraft, they worked on Diablo. Overwatch was nothing then. And Hearthstone was just out. So it's like the WoW team makes WoW. Right? My buddy who's the in-game cinematic director has been on WoW since 2006. He has been the cinematic director on WoW since 2006. And he ain't going nowhere. Right? Like, great guy. Really great guy. I love his stuff. He's good. We chat all the time. But like, they're there and they stay there. So that position isn't going to open up if they don't leave.
Yep.
And it's the same project, right? So, yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. That part is it's also a reason why they're expanding their games, and they have like this Diablo mobile game, and they have the survival game that they announced, whatever that is, stuff like that. They have new IPs. I'm curious to see what they're coming up with, right?
Well, I mean, they also have had a lot of turnover, so there's opportunities there as well.
A lot of there is, if you go on their job site, that Blizzard is a completely different Blizzard.
Yeah.
Probably for the better. Than what they used to be.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
That's the goal.
But now Blizzard is now more on the Activision side in terms of, Blizzard always used to have the saying, when it's ready, TM.
Yep.
Now it's you ship when Activision says it ships, right? Which
Yeah.
means, yeah, you guys are on a treadmill now too, because after this thing happened at Blizzard, you know, they needed somebody to put a handle on it, and you know, Activision is the parent company; they are responsible, so they have to do their things.
For now.
So, yeah, until Microsoft, you know, so,
Till all that finishes.
yeah.
Well, hey.
Talk about culture. What do you want to know?
Oh, we're talking about I think they were commenting on the culture of Blizzard there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
We actually have just about hit time, and before we do, I want to ask you if people want to get in touch with you, have questions, that kind of thing. What's the best way for them to do that?
I'm always on Twitter, @_Shiva D. I'll put it here @_Shiva. That's me.
Sweet.
Yeah. Always on Twitter. I'm very how to put it, nebulous with my remarks. I would always put up some meme gif or something there that represents how the day was, whether it's somebody tired or somebody just says okay. But I never like rant about stuff, right? I would just make a little joke about it and so on.
Well,
it's games, dude. It's gotta be tiring, and you push yourself, right? To do awesome stuff.
Well, you also have to be careful talking negatively in this industry because it's so small, right? Like you don't want to be doing that.
It's everybody hears everything in this industry. You burn a bridge in one place, I guarantee the next place you go to, even if it has nothing to do with the other place, they're gonna know.
Yeah. Well, like we said, you and I, through one, maybe two connections at most, could reach out to someone just about anywhere, right?
Yes.
Like the industry, we all move around a lot. We keep a lot of connections. Like it's a very small industry. Like
everybody knows everybody.
They really do. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, man.
We should do this again.
Absolutely.
Probably me and Ari come on a day.
There you go. We can do that too.
We're a dangerous duo. Yeah.
I have a feeling if you guys came on together, I would just sit back and listen because
yeah, we have a lot of stories. Oh gosh, we have a lot of stories.
Hey, that'd be great. That sounds fun.
If we actually do like a full sale-y thing, like with Ari and Erin.
Oh, there's a bunch. Like a lot of my guests tend to be people from Full Sail. So
yeah, you can just do a thing like a reunion thing. That would be cool.
I'm gonna start doing it by years, right? Like here's the grads from this year. Right, bring a few of them in together. Like talk about what it was like then, and getting into the industry in 2000 and whatever. Like that could be fun conversations.
That'd be great. Cool.
All right, man. I'm gonna jump off and say my goodbyes. I appreciate you.
Alrighty.
And we will get in touch soon. Figure out another reason to do this. It'd be good.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
All right,
bye,
man.
guys.
Later, buddy.